Oh, Chiang just quickly disappeared. Hi guys, thank you for joining us. So those of you who are there's 16 of you guys live. Come in, come join us. Drop us a line in the comment section. Who here? Hi, Ganesan. Hi. Jason was here before. So it's Harish and Ganesan has just joined us. So today, in today's show, I am stepping in for Thomas, who's taking a break from Top Gear. Hello, Yudesh. Thank you for coming in. And now, usually Thomas's Top Gears is all very philosophical questions, very a bit more deep questions. For me today, today I ganti him for one day lah. Today I'm cikgu ganti lah. So today I'm sort of like bringing my ownership review video into Top Gear. Okay, and here's the funny story. A few weeks ago, my cikgu discipline from school messaged me on Facebook, asked me about, hey, BMW F10 can buy. I said, wow, cikgu, you're doing well in life. So with that, right, I got this idea. Then I called Ija, who is down below. All right, he's my classmate from school, to join us, and together we two old seaport boys, we chit chat and we'll talk about the F10 and we'll help our cikgu from discipline from school. Hey, he rotan you before last time.
Never kena rotan yet, I think.
Okay. Cikgu Baska, you are here. Okay. Okay. Tian Long to the right here. He's also a classmate of mine, but not from school, from uni. So but he's also an F10 owner. And yeah, so basically right now, my classmates are all doing well, all driving BMW F10 5 Series. I'm the guy who's stuck with, two old ass cars.
Bro, you are like
two 5 Series.
Yeah. 2 5 Series, bro. You're living the dream, man.
Yeah. All right. So, anyways, I'm very excited to do this. And of course, Thomas, if you are watching from home, thank you for giving me the space to take this as well. And before we proceed, let's introduce our guests. Who of you want to start first?
I can go first, lah.
Okay.
Easier. I volunteer. I guess my name is Ija Mohan. I am Connor. Schoolmates, classmates from oh God, so many years ago.
Yeah, man.
Back in Seaport, it's so long ago. It is no longer even known as Seaport. It's known as school, right? So, I'm actually, first off, I want to say the name of the show, Top Gear, is a very very smart naming convention, lah. Because you say it enough, it just sounds like Top Gear, right?
Yeah.
Very smart.
This is the brainchild of my colleague Thomas.
Okay, I follow you on YouTube and all that, yeah. But I confess I don't follow Thomas yet, but I will now lah. Now I have to already. Yeah.
You appear on his show.
Yes. I think the topic of F10, I'm pretty new to it. Owned the car for 2 years now. I bought a 5-year-old F10. Actually, I bought a 4-year-old F10 lah.
So yours is a what?
15 car. It's a 20.
Yours is the facelift, right?
It's the last iteration of the F10 lah, the LCI.
Facelift lah.
Yeah. The
5 to 8, right?
Sport, yeah. M Sport LCI Enhanced Edition. Oh, I see. Oh, it was the last one. So
clusters.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into that OCD part later lah. But yeah, that's me. Yes. I think I'll pass it to Tian to also.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Con, uni feels like yesterday, but I think looking back, it's I got to know Con in the car park. Remember, we used to check out each other's car in the car park. Yeah. And we used to watch a lot of Top Gear, and we were saying that one day we're going to buy a Subang Airport so that we get to own the runway. There were some jokes that we used to have back in our uni days. So my F10 would be a good comparison because I have the 2012, the first batch that got converted to N20, right? So I had the full 4-wheel steer. which I think the 2015 model doesn't have. So mine is the
Yes.
four-wheel steer, and I have the car. I bought it from BMW Premium Selection. So I also bought it when it was 5 years old. I had the car about 4 years already. This would be the 5th year that I've been driving it. So a good switch. I went from the other German mark to this mark, and I think I asked Con, what do you think if I change the C class to the 5 Series? He said, go for it, man.
I remember this was how many years ago already. At that time, I was still with Carlis, you know. I remember I was in Mid Valley. I was doing grocery shopping before going home.
Yes.
Right. And then you called me, and then that time you were considering the whether to go for the 528 3.0. Then I told you, if you're already 3.0 road tax, why not you consider the 535? But I think Anna, you decided, you make the decision to go into the 528 2.0.
Yes. But the 535s, they were all grey imports, right? They were not officially brought in, right?
Okay.
No, they were. They were.
No, the 535 initially, when it was first launched, the BMW Malaysia sold it officially, but it was almost 600K for one.
Cool.
And it's not M Sport, right? I think, right?
No,
it wasn't M Sport. Yes.
It wasn't. There are of course some M Sport 535s that came in. Some also converted by the owners, but BMW did offer the 535 officially. I remember that was one of the time when I drove the car. I was like, wow, I was there mind blown by the pace of the car, man.
Yeah, a friend of mine bought very early on, bought the 528 when it first came out. So and then I was asking him the same question, like, why didn't you get the more power? He's like, here's a tip for you, lah. When you want to test drive a car, test drive the model you can afford. Never test drive the model that you can't afford. Because it's just very
That's
painful.
a good advice.
Yeah, man. Because after that you'll be like, wow, you'll be head backside itchy, you know. You want to buy
you'll find all kind of excuses to justify. No lah, another $1,000 to $2,000 a month can what? Okay, what?
I
don't do anything.
Definitely.
But actually, nice that you all mentioned the engine choices. Okay, so I ripped this chart off from Wikipedia, and oh my god, it looks a bit smaller. So the 5 Series, right? Okay, came with a big variety of engines. But for the purpose of today's episode, and actually for most people out there, the one with the biggest volumes are the N20 engines, the 2-liter turbo that was launched in Malaysia in 2012. Okay, there's the 520i, which had 184 horsepower, and the 528, which is the 245 horsepower version. Now, something for you guys to take note: Japan spec F10, they call the 520i the 523. In Japan, this model is called the 523i. And of course, the 528 badge was also used before 2012 to represent a 3-liter engine model as well. So the thing is that when you shop for an F10, okay, you really have to look at the specs of the car and to see which engine that you're looking at. Generally, they are all quite reliable, but for the purpose of today's episode, and because the two owners that I have here relevant to their expertise, we are focusing mainly on the N20 versions, which is the 520i and the 528i. Yeah.
Cool, man.
Cool. Okay. So, Chiang, can you show us the current market value of the F10? Cool. So right now,
cool. Can I say it's just really cool to have somebody who can pull up stuff for you and on.
Yeah, man.
I can get used to this.
Jiang had some good training. Okay, so Henry Seal mentioned this. Timing chain guide need to watch out for N20. I don't know if you guys face this issue yet.
Belum lagi.
Not yet.
But then, so I also got my car, I think, on the 4th year. That means it was still under BMW 5-year, warranty and all that. And that was one of the reasons I decided is I wanted to take the car, whack it a bit, and make sure BMW has a look at it before I run out of warranty lah.
Yeah.
So these were things like you see on you see the reviews and the warnings, the forums and all. So this was something that I also was like picky on lah. So I asked even a third-party mechanic to look at it. He said, "Oh, everything looks fine. It's not an issue." But definitely need to keep an eye on it lah. That's for sure lah.
But the what you call that, the timing chain guide, it's a known issue for the N20 engine. Whether it's the 520 or the 528, it's a known issue. It will break. So the thing is that if any of you guys, if you currently own an F10 or if you are buying an F10, this is an area you definitely need to tackle at, I don't know, maybe what, 80,000 kilometers, 100,000 kilometers.
I was told that the BMW changed it on my side, so that's why I was.
Okay. Well, Sean, I recommend that you have it changed. Okay, and just now, okay, No Name asked B48 better than the N20. The B48 was never offered in the F10 to start with, and Henry Siu actually mentioned this. The 520i facelift is now available for as low as 94,000 ringgit, and if you ask me, it's not 528, but that price, I think it's quite a steal. Right.
Actually, before I got my car, also another friend of mine was looking for the F10. And then, but again, at that point, I was not looking for the F10 and then they were saying that they're looking for a specific model, and it's about 150 grand at that point. Then I was looking through Calais, I was going through all this, and it's like, hey, can you get below 100 mark? Why are you paying a 50,000 premium? But then I did not know at that point that this guy was very fixated on the LCI. He wanted the LED lights, and he wanted the digital cluster and all that. That is the So if you think about, if you just want an F10, man, you can get something, I think in the 80,000-70,000 range also lah. Again, it has risk attached.
You look at the 520i, right? 69,000 ringgit pre-facelift you can get ready. Actually, if you guys go even further back to like the 6-cylinder NA models, right? The 2010, 2011, they are even cheaper.
I think the 523i, right? Called the 523i, that the lowest spec 6-cylinder when they introduced. I think that would be very attainable price now.
Very, very close. I can buy that one, but voila, the thing with that engine is that, right? For those of you who are accustomed to turbocharged torque, that engine, you need to rev it in order to really enjoy the car. Otherwise, right, you'd be like, wow, why is this car so sluggish? Because it's very heavy. And the old 6-cylinder engine, it delivers its power at the higher end of the ref range.
Yeah, and also, my model came with the stupid active sound designer. So it's very deceiving, It's extremely deceiving. But I've come to like it. Basically, it's artificial engine noise in the cabin room, right? So there's no way to switch it off unless you have like a Beamer code or a Beamer link. Then you can switch on and off, right? It is so noticeable. It's no joke, When I'm driving and I switch it on and switch it off, it is a world of difference, Really, it is the artificial engine noise in the F10. But it's actually I prefer the noise, especially because it only kicks in when you put it on like sports mode, right? You actually you feel like you're hearing the engine. Or not the sound deadening, you don't hear much in the cabin.
Okay, so Trust GTI has a bit of advice. I think he's still talking about the timing chain guide, right? So problem starts from the timing chain tensioner. As preventive maintenance before the cold start rattle will reduce the chance of needing to replace the whole system later. You guys gonna cold start rattle either of your cars?
Not yet.
Cold start rattle. Let me think back. I think I had a different issue because of my mountings giving way, and then I noticed. But anyway, one thing is the BMW. As far as my experience concerned, don't follow the maintenance guide. It's a little bit too. The mileage recommendation, if you follow that, I think then you're going to end up. So I would advise whatever they propose, you do it 20 to 30% earlier. Then I think you should be in a very safe zone.
So Tian Long, you answer Charles Chin's question here. You have changed your engine mounts.
Yeah, I have changed. I think the car is 9 years old, right? You're bound to change, and the gearbox mounting as well. So I changed the whole set, right? Give me the smoothness back again.
Nice. Okay, so this is also something that I learned about the F10 recently in one of the Facebook postings. So apparently there's this yellow grommet somewhere, I think at the front passenger seat area, that actually lets water into the passenger compartment.
Yeah. I came across a post about somebody saying that there's flooding in the inside the cabin lah.
Yeah.
And then I saw like Sebo, I just went and shone a torchlight. When you open up the boot, you see the two corners, right? And there is some water retention there, no?
Oh,
because
damn.
all the so there was leaves and all that get stuck in that little compartment there.
Yeah.
So now I'm like a hero. Every weekend I'll take my little the one to pick up the sampah, the garbage one, right? Put it down there, take out all the leaves, making sure it's clear. So it is, yeah. It's all the leaves and all that get stuck there, lah. Then you get the problem, lah.
You know, sometimes, right? These things are these hidden things. There, Chiang found it. This is the thing. Is this the thing that you opened and found?
No, because this becomes a problem only if the blockages at the bottom of the part, right? So as the water fills up, then if the seal is not strong, then it seeps into here, lah. So the thing is, there's a little hole at the bottom here. You know, you see the grease or the dirt at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
You need to always make that part is clear so the water doesn't.
So the water can flow here, right?
Drain, yeah, the water doesn't drain, then only you get into problem.
Where exactly is this?
This, if I'm not mistaken, you open up. It's a part that my hand cannot fit. That's why I know. You open up the boot. It's right in the corner next to side mirrors.
Okay, well,
it's the bonnet.
You guys, you guys are not alone in dealing with this. Sean Koh also faced this.
One of this is I was like when I serviced my aircon, right? Because actually, if you leave it bad enough that there's a lot of leaves there, there's one thing I learned, right? You will actually have some smell coming through your aircon as well, as if it's taking fresh air from the outside. So what I do now is when I send the car for service, I service outside. I just get them to blast everything out with the air gun and everything, so make sure this is spotless.
So either you did ATF change before?
Yes, in fact, yes. The first one of the problem with the ZF gearbox is either it's too cold or too hot. There's a time when the first gear goes to second gear, the car jerks like hell.
Oh damn!
And it's because of the what I understand is the solenoid in the gearbox. So I found a gearbox specialist who flushed it and cleaned all the solenoids. Then the smoothness was back. It doesn't happen from second to third gear or third gear to fourth gear. It tends to happen only on first to second, and it's a pain in stop-go traffic. You can Google the ZF gearbox jerk. It will work, but it's definitely an unpleasant experience. So for that, I went for a full flush and cleaning the solenoids. That is the example of worried it's something more than that. I need to change the whole gearbox. So I was praying hard that a simple flush would solve the issue.
Yeah.
Okay. But this also, when I checked with BMW, they said it's no need to change. They are like, oh, it's lifetime. No need.
BMW will definitely tell you don't have to change one. BMW will tell you that it's lifetime. But let me tell you something. My silver E39, right? It was one of the last cars that was still distributed, that was sold locally in Malaysia, but it was before BMW Malaysia's time. That time, Auto Bavaria was the distributor. And when I looked at the manual of the car, owner's manual of the car that was printed by BMW AG, it says your ATF, right, is lifetime field, don't have to change one. But Auto Bavaria inserted another card that's obviously locally printed and says recommends your ATF change every 60,000 kilometers. This was the time of my E39. So the thing is that I believe with all this lifetime ATF field thing, right? Personally, I don't buy it. I think, with our kind of weather, right? Humid, hot, high temperature, and also if you have stop-go traffic, there's no way your ATF will last for a lifetime. It's either you change it regularly, or you just wait for about 180, 200,000 kilometers, you change your gearbox. Yeah.
Okay. I think gone through our training, right? The years that we actually learn engineering, I don't think so we can buy the word a liquid can last a lifetime.
We won't. We won't. Okay. So our regular host Thomas has dropped us a line and just said hi. So hi Thomas, have a good break today. And okay, so either of you guys had experience owning E60?
No, man. I really wanted to, though. I was considering it before the F10. Yeah.
You know the E60, right? I remember that was the car that in a way that grabbed my attention towards BMW. Even though I'm an E39 fan, but the E60 was the car that caught my attention from BMW. Because before that, right, during my school days, during my uni days, right, I was a Mitsubishi fanboy all the way. I was like, Lancer Evo,
No choice. You went to government school, ma. So we all are either the either the Evolution or Impreza.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You remember the E60 now that you mentioned, when we were always walking for meals in Sunway, right? We will be trying to spot which one is a rear which is a rear 530i, which is the M5, which one is a F520i that convert to look like an M5. I remember every day we'll be guessing. Those are the days.
Yeah, man. Okay, so coming back, right? What made you guys bought the F10? If I may ask, what led you guys to buy the F10?
Okay, why not I go first? Yeah, this one let me go first. So I think in my household, right, my dad was more of a Mercedes guy. Can't you remember, right? I had the W124. My dad has a W202. So I went with the path. When I finally could afford, I went for a W204. Fun at first, but my W204 was the first gen of the C250 CGI, and it had a 5-speed transmission. And a massive turbo lag for because it's 1.8, right? And with the 5-speed, it's just not responsive.
Yeah.
And when I thought about it, I was
bad, right? The 204
handling, right? You say
the handling was not bad, right? The 204
handling was sharp.
Yeah.
Then I commuted long distance, right? Because I commute at that time I was working in Penang, so I travel up and down between KL and Penang every week without fail. So the C-Class served me well. But in terms of comfort, it's slightly less. Then I picture myself, E-Class doesn't sound right. Something doesn't sound right about E-Class at this juncture. So I was like,
hey, but you lived with an E-Class for some time, remember?
So that one was forced to drive, right? My mom passed me that car to drive, and then after that I drove the Satya GTI, right? So when I got cash myself, I bought it. I was thinking to myself, wow, commute long distance, let's get me something that's really comfortable and has the power on the highway. And I think naturally when you think about that, right, you there's a Lexus, but you want something that is proven, right? It's the BMW. So that's how I started thinking about the F10. And then I asked you, right, which model to go for, right? And the mistake I made was I went to the Premier outlet. The first car that was parked there was the 528i N20. So I didn't even look at the 520i. So I stepped in there. And I fall for the oldest trick, right? I can't justify to go anything lower, right? And then just settle with the 528i. No regrets.
Good. Ija?
Well, I actually was not. If I'm being very frank, I think getting a BMW, driving BMW was always like an ambition, right, or something that I wanted, but I never planned for it. Actually, I was. Before this, I was driving my Optima K5, and I bought the car new. I had it for 5 years. Very happy with the car. I really like the car, but I just thought it was time for a change, So I just wanted to, sell and buy. So I was not really considering the F10. In fact, I was actually looking at the new K5, or they came out with the sports one. What's
GT.
it called? No,
the Optima GT.
Stinger.
Stinger, yeah, exactly. Stinger.
Stinger, yes.
A couple of, it costs a lot more, but I was actually looking at that, and I was talking to a buddy of mine, shout out to Prasad, who runs the Kia dealership in Seremban, and then he was like, he knows I like BMW, so he's like, dude, why don't you just make the jump to a BMW? You always wanted one, and I was like, I never thought about it, right? it was always something that I wanted, but it was not something I gave it sufficient. Because you always imagine I'm going to buy it new. So, if you're going to buy it new, it's a little bit more of a premium price and all that. So I was like giving it some thought. Then he's like, once he put that seed in my head, right? Every time, last time you were bored, you scroll Facebook or Instagram. Then I just scrolling cars, scrolling. Every time I'm just like bookmarking cars. Oh, this car, that car. So that kind of got me into it. But also like, I have a little bit of an OCD. So once I get like obsessive, right? And then I became very focused on the exact model that I wanted, lah. Oh, this is, and I got obsessed with the 528i, the enhanced version where it's, it's that specific rim with that specific body kit, with that engine, with that interior, with that finish. So I became obsessed with it, which really meant that the only cars that I could find one was in Penang, there's one available in Penang, all that.
Yeah.
And it just so happened like one came available in the premium selection, and so that's why I say, okay, I got no choice. I have to buy this.
You had to make it happen, huh?
Yeah, it's it's inception. Like once somebody puts the idea in your head, right, you can't get it out.
Hey, but did either of you guys consider the 535?
Yes. At that point,
my number plate is 535.
Yes, correct. Now, 535, right? There's one going for less than 90 grand, for 300 horsepower for less than 90 grand, man.
Yeah, I think the reason that I didn't take any big risk in buying a 535 was because it's my family car. Ultimately it's going to be my daily runner. I'm bringing my wife to work, my kids to my in-laws and all that. So it's like one car. So my K5 was my stable car.
Yeah.
So I thought if I maintain a K5, maybe I'll get an E39, which can break down every day. I don't care because that's not my daily driver, right? But if I was replacing the K5, I was like, okay, I can't afford to get a very fun, but maybe prone to breakdown.
Actually, no. The 535 is, from what we know, it's decently reliable. It's just that your road tax bill is 2,000 a year as opposed to, what's your 528 now?
300 and 300 something. I can't remember.
Yeah. I mean, that's the difference, lah. That's like what, eightfold, sevenfold, 6 to 7-fold road tax, lah, right?
So actually, for me, the consideration, I'm a bit different from most owners, lah, right? Like a lot of people consider your road tax and all that. For me, the consideration is always how much I'm gonna enjoy using the car, lah. So even the example I give is even when I was driving the K5, like 4-5 friends of mine had the K5 as well. Those guys' mileage, for example, they'll get somehow 100 extra kilometers all the time, from a full tank, and I will consistently get 100 kilometers less, So I just knew that I have a lead foot. I enjoy driving. My car is always on sports mode. So for me, the consideration is that if I had the 535, God knows that I'll be like terrorizing the roads with the 535, and I will find it with weak points and stress it out. So I was like, okay, I'll buy
fair enough.
Within my realm of.
Connect. To your question, you tried to poison me with the 535i. I did give it some thought, but the problem was that in premium selection there were no 535s. It's very scarce, very scarce. The best deal you could get was the 528i, right? So when I got it in 2017, that was the best deal I could get. So ever since then, I've been thinking, right? I joke with you, right? Buy another white color one, and then maybe no one will notice I actually changed my car.
Because why I asked you to consider the 535 was because you were looking at the 528 3.0. You were already thinking your mind, you're mentally ready for 3-liter road tax, right?
Correct.
So
correct.
2-liter NA versus 3-liter turbo, your road tax is the same. So it's something that is worth considering. But one thing I have to say, I've mentioned this in a video before. The F10 5 Series, right, is the one car that I have tested most extensively. It means that I have reviewed the most number of times. I've driven like 520D, 520i, 6-cylinder, active hybrid, M5. I've even had a chance to drive a 520D manual before when I was overseas. And I have to say one thing, the F10 platform, right, the dynamics of the F10 feels best optimized when it is fitted with the N20 engine. Somehow the right comfort, the handling balance, it just feels right with the N20 engine. Even the 535, yeah, you know, it's powerful and all that, doesn't quite have, these are all my pictures lah, all right? Yeah, good for finding them. All these pictures were taken by me. The top left is the M5, then the right one is the 535i. The wagon is, I think, the 520i. That was in Spain. Then bottom was the 528 3.0, and then the 523 2.5. So yeah, the N20 engine gives, I think, somehow it's the best balance with the F10 platform. That has been my observation driving so many different variations of the F10.
Yes, Kong, we all love your job, Kong. I tell you, like, I see your post and I see a review, and like I get like extremely jealous of your job. I think I've told you that before.
I love you guys as my friends too. Yeah. So this
it's a dream job, man.
Has been my point. So, guys, both of you have had. Daniel, you've had your car since 2017. Ija, you also have your car for like what, at least 3 years, 4 years.
Oh, I think 2 years, sir. 2 years.
2 years. Any fond memories of the cars to share with us?
I think I was, you can say, lucky in a certain way, is because I got it, and then the pandemic hit, and then everything's on lockdown. So all my dreams of going on extremely long road trips and all that was, no interstate travel and no this and all that. So that part was, I was like, I was really expecting to do a lot of long drives with the car. So every time there was like, there was a little bit of a gap where they opened up the interstate, or me and my wife jumped into the car, son in the backseat, we drove all the way north, never get down anywhere, didn't go anywhere, just drove all the way north and then drove all the way back just to enjoy driving the car. So in a sense,
yeah man. Wait, so you bought your car at the start of the pandemic?
Right before this whole thing came, right before, yeah. So it was interesting times, I must say.
Yeah, man. Then you had the car for longer?
I had a lot of experience of the North-South Highway. I'm sure I have my fair encounter of the various, let's say, taking record of my digits. Right, I made some donation to the government. Those are definitely some good experience. Exactly what I leave it up to the imagination. What kind of donation I've made. I think the car has, the more you drive it, the more you enjoy the car, and that's what I was saying about it. It's like sounds so BMW cliche, right? I think the pandemic, right? When it hit, right, and then finally get to go out and drive and start the car again, right? Wow, that was so satisfying. So I think, but I have some like the plug coil failures and all those. I have my fair share of the standard problem, like going to BMW limp mode, and it's like, crap, right? So I mean, there are a lot of this kind of fun with the car, I must say.
But actually, right, since you mentioned that, right, we move on to what sort of breakdowns do you face with the car, or like major maintenance bills that you face with the car?
Okay, I had since my car is older, I think I went through one pair of the front shocks. I think I texted you, right, Con? It was like 7K for the one pair, right? That was like, so it's fun to have that comfort mode, sport mode, right? The firming up the right wall. But when it does give way, it bites the pocket. And so I was never stranded on the roadside, but I was pleasantly surprised by the strength of the euro currency, and you needed to buy some parts. Okay, so I did preventive, like oil pump, right? The oil pump, water pump, right? Like I said, I don't wait for it. I think at 60 or 70K, I changed a set since I own the car. So BMW told me they changed it before they pass it, before they sold it to me. So when I did another 50K, then I said, okay, it's time. You know what? Let me just change all this. So nothing major. Oh, and the aircon cooling coil failed on me. That one was pretty worrying because you have to take out the whole dashboard. And I wasn't worried about paying the bill. I was very worried that I get rattling noise after put back.
You
Thank
worry
goodness the mechanic did
they
a
didn't
good
put
job.
the dashboard back properly, right?
Yes, yes. And thankfully when it was all put back together, it was fine. The gasket standard. I think all N20s you're bound to find that your gasket is going to leak oil, right? So those kind of things are standard, and it's a way of life if you want to own a BMW, right? So to me, not going to cry about that.
Good. Ija, what about you? I know you that day. I had to.
Dude, I have a lot, man. I mean, but also my timing was a little bit bad because it was during the MCO. So I got the car from Ingress actually, right? But they those guys completely shut down during the MCO. Even though I think workshops are allowed to operate and all that, they were just not available. So I think I had a couple of breakdowns. One was the standard the spark plugs in the solenoid lah. So that one was you get a that one there was one and they couldn't help because the workshop was shut, so I had to go to outside workshop. Of course, I made a lot of noise and claimed back from Ingress. Another one was the what do you call it, the alternator belt. It's something it snapped, and then so it wasn't charging the battery, and the car died. But it's in a way it looked like it was still okay, but actually it snapped below. So from the top, it looks like it's okay when you look at it. So we couldn't figure it out. Then so I thought it was the battery problem. So the battery guy came to change, and he's like, "Yo, man, your belt's not really moving." And he's like,
"Damn."
Yeah. So then again, Ingress was close. Sorry.
Snapped, but didn't. But everything still continued to run like normal.
Yeah. But it stops charging the battery lah. So you just get the warning in the car is the battery's not charging or something along those lines. And all that. And then so again, Ingress was closed during the time as well. So I had to go outside to third-party workshop to get it out. Again, made a lot of noise. Again, claim lah. So because it was still under the warranty period lah. So it was still out of pocket as such. So that was very interesting for me lah. It's getting tow truck, going to workshop outside. So that was interesting during the MCO lah. I think I don't know, man. I think the assumption of my assumption, like I speak for myself, right? My assumption was if I buy from the premium selection, or in fact, even if I buy new from BMW, is I would get a certain level of service that will not be the same outside. Actually, you find that it's the other way around. Sometimes if you have your neighborhood mechanic who you're friendly with, who knows you, they probably take care of your car a hell of a lot more than sending you to like one of the official.
Actually, the important thing is, right, whether you go to official or you go to third party workshop, right, that relationship between you and the people working there is very important. And the thing with maintaining a BMW is this: it's most BMWs are, I mean, the popular models, right? They are actually not difficult to maintain, but and there are plenty of competent people who can juggle the cars properly. But you need to build that relationship. You need to build that trust with that party, so that you ensure that your car has the proper maintenance, and what is what's going on with your car, and they will update you when what are the things, what's the progress of the car that's been going on.
I definitely agree with you.
So overall, right, would you guys say, what do you guys have to say when people talk about BMW ownership is scary lah, and all that? What do you guys have to say about that?
I'll give you a funny story, right? I think when I got the car, my car didn't come with the reverse camera, so I had to get it installed outside, right? And then when I installed, so the guy was installing, very nice guy. He does a lot of audio and all that for cars and all. But the whole time he was telling me about how, like, basically saying that only idiots buy BMW, right? The really smart guys only would buy a Toyota because your maintenance fees, the maintenance bills and all that. And then he keeps going on, and I'm a very nice person, so I just listen and laugh it off and all that. It doesn't matter to me what his opinions are. Obviously, he drove a Toyota, right? And so I think that is like kind of like the BMW drivers are assholes is the myth. I wouldn't say a myth, but that's the how externally people are viewed. It's something that I hear quite often. In fact, you can find so many memes online about BMW drivers and BMW owners, so I don't even need to go there, right? But I think for myself is the way I see this is I bought the car for a specific reason. It's why I bought the car, right? If it makes me happy, I really don't care what other people think about it.
Ija, there's something you mentioned just now that surprised me and also surprised Henry Seal a bit. Your car don't have reverse camera.
Yeah, it doesn't come like I think the earlier models, pre-LCI models came, but somehow the final one, they just didn't come. And I asked BMW to install also. They like kind of refused. They're like, oh, it's okay.
The pre-LCI, I know it came with the 535i.
Maybe it was an option that the owner didn't take because it cost like $6,000 just for reverse camera.
Yeah. So the 528i 3-liter had reverse camera. The 6-cylinder had reverse camera. They changed to 528i. They threw in, I forgot what they threw in. Can't be that material because my unit didn't come with reverse camera. So I switched it to the Android-based that still has the iDrive. And mine also, I had to install the reverse camera. And they removed the keyless entry as well. And the reason I think they use the CKD, right? The CKD is the reason that they say, now we dropped the price better. We need to remove reverse camera and keyless entry. Yeah.
Funny story, right? Back then, when I went to BMW Malaysia office in Cyberjaya to pick up the test car, the 528i test car, the same spec Tian Long as your one, right? The 2012 car, right? So the PR exec handed me the key. Okay. So I walked to the car and I opened the door. I said, hey, fuck, why is the door not opening? I asked her, I said, hey, why the door not opening one? Then she tell me, you have to unlock the door. I was like, what? What keyless entry?
It's 2012.
Like, yeah. I was like, huh? So but that caught me by surprise. And yeah, so I was like, because I remember before that I drove something cheaper and that car came with keyless entry. So I was like mentally, okay lah, I'll go keyless entry and open the car.
Yeah, my model came. They call it Comfort Access, I think. So my model came with the Comfort Access. You can kick under the boot and the boot opens up and all that. So it's weird, like they don't give you a reverse camera. They give you Comfort Access. It's like very.
I think if I remember correctly, Shankar, another one of our friends, he has also Shankar also has the LCI M Sport of 2016.
Another BMW convert, Shankar, right? Shankar. Huh? He also was driving a C-Class, right? Before this, he had a...
I'm not sure what Shankar was driving before this, but Shankar, you are free. You are most welcome to come in and join us. All right. Okay. So we are going to go for a quick break, so viewers can go for a toilet break, or we can go and grab a drink. We'll be back in a while. Okay. Chia?
Sure.
Yeah, my HP, I'm going to whack you, man, I tell you. Okay, so previously, just now, that was our Evo Club Fire Extinguisher. We are open a pre-order campaign. Sell at normal price, 220 ringgit. We are selling 360 ringgit for a pair. And we are only selling it in a pair. Why? We want you guys to spread the message of safety. Buy a pair, put one in your car, and spread the love to your loved ones as well. Okay, so fire extinguisher, definitely something very handy to have in your cars. So yeah, you can. So Chia has flashed a message down there. Pre-order at club.evomalaysia.com today. Okay. Yes, Shankar, there's a link for the fire extinguisher. So later we'll send to you. Okay. Okay, guys, we're going to welcome another special guest. Tian Long, you know him. He has done some work on your car, I believe.
Yes.
So, okay, for those of you who do not know, Mike is with DNA Tuning. He specializes in tuning, providing tuning solutions, DNA tuning, and the N20 engine is one of your most commonly tuned engines, right, Mike? Mike, we can't hear you. Mike. Hey, you are muted. Mike.
Mike
Okay,
has mic problems.
we already got Mike has mic issues.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it.
Yeah.
Mike is frozen. Mike. Already got question waiting for you, Mike.
It's free consultation, man.
You guys me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Because I think, hang on, yeah.
You are off again.
I think I better just use this lah.
Yeah. A bit echo, but it's fine.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Sorry, I'm here a bit late. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Mike, tell us how much extra horsepower can you squeeze out of a N20 engine from your tubes?
Okay, N20. It depends whether yours is 520 or 528 lah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because with the 528, basically the car is already quite well tuned from the factory. Yeah. Yeah. So the increase is not so much. Yeah. You are looking at about maybe 30 to 40 horses. Yeah. Depending whether you are on stage 1 or stage 2 lah. Yeah. And,
but the internals of the engine also slightly different, right?
Yeah, different. Yes, especially the pistons lah. Because with the 528, the compression ratios on them is slightly lower than the 520. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So if you push 520 too hard, you run into piston issues.
So the thing is that, right? Turning the 520 to something that performs to the level of a 528, it's not as simple as writing a new line of code, isn't it?
Yeah, not quite as simple lah. Which a lot of people had discovered in the earlier days of the N20 when people were tuning them lah. Some were quite stressed. Yeah, some were not very nice lah. You know what happened to the engines? Pushing them hard.
Ouch.
Yeah.
But in general, right, how reliable were the N20 engines after they received your tune?
I think I've been tuning them for about 3 years now. Yeah. And so far has been very good lah. We haven't had any issues with it.
Yeah.
The only issue I've encountered was one of the customers, turbo blew. But he didn't really. I would say it's not unexpected lah. Because that car it was a 328. And if I tell you how many kilometers on the clock, you'll be surprised. 280,000 kilometers.
Wow. That's still has been around the block.
Yes, still on the stock turbo.
Wow.
So the customer didn't complain actually, because he said, "Hey, my brother's car, stock standard at 120 also had to find a new turbo." So yes.
So Tian Long here is one of your customers, and Tian Long, how was your car after you received his tune?
Well, monthly expenses went up. The right leg got heavier. I think one of the thing that made a difference. I think Mike, remember we were discussing. I think coupled with the gearbox tune, I think that made a very significant change to the way the car felt and drove. And I think I've been very happy with it, and that's why the right leg tends to be a bit more trigger happy. I tried very hard to not do that, but no, I mean it's just nice to pull the car after the car's warm up. So very happy with the results. Very happy.
Nice.
It's been a pleasure working on your car.
Yeah.
My job is to make you guys happy.
So are you tempted to?
Dude, you guys are like poison session lah. Mike is
but I would say this, like, Mike Mike's DNA tuning, right, is one of the more conservative tunes in the market. So if you compare with with a lot of other tunes, right, the gains are not as high, but his tunes generally are more conservative. They don't stress the engine as much. It focuses on improving drivability rather than the heat outputs and all that.
No, Mike, you will definitely be hearing from me, Mike. It's just a matter of time.
You're not obliged to, but if you're happy, go for it, man.
No. I mean, since Thomas is not here, then I will inject some philosophy here, since he's not here to inject the philosophy. I think when I got the car first, you're excited to get it, and you want to do everything you can do to the car straight away, right? And then a friend of mine actually advised that enjoy the car for what it is, and because I'm coming from a K5 which was like 169 horse, right, and moving on to like a 240 odd horse car is you think enjoy the difference, enjoy the performance. So when you actually go and tune it later on, you will appreciate the increase, just get the car and you just tune it. You don't appreciate. You miss out the chance to appreciate for what the car is stock.
It's a journey, all right. Owning a car, right, for an enthusiast, owning a car is it's a journey. Sometimes the journey is short, sometimes it's long, sometimes it takes you on different paths, but you enjoy the journey, and I think that is something that is very, very important. So I'm gonna ask the you two gentlemen, right? Since you're on this topic, right? Are there any things projects that you guys have planned to spice up your car, or you're just going to be like standard into Inda and just leave it as it is until you move on to the next car?
I think for me is when I got the car and then MCO and all that, I actually I'm a very hands-on person, so I had a lot of plans for the car, and then when we couldn't go out, the workshops weren't open, I actually I dismantled my whole dashboard. And my wife woke up the next morning, suddenly our whole hall, right, was the car dashboard everywhere. And the reason I did that was because I found I had that brushed metal aluminium trim, right? And I found there was scratches here and there, and I wanted to polish it nicely. So I dismantled all the trim, the dashboard, the trim, all. Really, and she was like, what the hell happened? What the hell happened to the car? So...
How long was it from the time that you took the dashboard out to the time that you put it back in?
No, okay. So the thing is, I would have never done it, but because when I first collected the car, I immediately got the reverse camera installed, right? So they had to install the module for the head unit. So I actually saw the guy just remove everything so easily. I mean, these cars are, there's a couple of screws and everything comes out and it's nice.
Yeah.
So when I saw how easy it is to take apart, I was like, I got to try this for myself. So that's the reason. If I hadn't seen somebody do it, I wouldn't have tried it myself. Yeah.
The thing is that, right, with cars like the F10, also like my E39, my experience that a lot of these DIY things is very easy for you to learn on YouTube, because these cars are so popular. And especially in the Masale countries where, for them, labor is high, it makes a difference for them to actually take the effort to do the things at home. And wow, Chiang, this is good, man.
Yeah. Exactly. These things weren't there in my car the next day.
So, Ija, you took out just this piece only, or you took out the whole thing?
I took out the whole thing, so because I wanted to clean the trims around the head unit as well. Because I saw the guy remove all that, I was very comfortable doing it. It didn't feel magical. I'm gonna break something because I saw him exactly how he did it. So I was very comfortable removing everything, and when you get to really clean everything and to your satisfaction, and I was bored, bro. MCO at home.
I know, man. I know that feeling.
It's boredom more than anything else.
Last month, I thought I also wanted to start my own DIY project. I wanted to change the wiper arm cover on my E39, right? So so it was through that I went to YouTube. I learned it was through that process. I learned that there's such a thing. There's a special tool you use to pull out the whole wiper arm one. So
really? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. So I ordered the part from China. All right, and the part came, and then I use it and twist and pull, right? But it was a 20 ringgit part lah. So as I was pulling it, the part got Bangkok and it wouldn't pull the and before the problem got solved, the car decided to flash me transmission fail-safe program.
I mean, fine lah. DIYs. So I think, Con, I gave you a call the other day with some saying like, oh, my oil sump broke and I need to get it fixed, and then you recommended one of your guys, right?
Yes.
So that actually is a typical classic case of me screwing shit up lah, because I was
epic story, man.
I bought like a wheel jack because I wanted to take out my rims, clean each rim, coat it nicely and put it back and all that, right? So I was doing all this. I finished everything. All 4 rims were off. I put it back on, cleaned everything. They look perfect. And I was lowering the car, and the jack slipped, and the jack went into my oil sump. And just broke the sump, right? And after that, when I talk to any mechanic guy, and the guy tells me, "Oh, F10, you must use at least 3 jacks. You cannot use 4 jacks." And I was like, "What? What do you mean 3 jacks? You need 3 jacks to lift an F10?" Like, yeah. F10, very common mistake is usually your oil sump will break, or worst case, steering rack, which will cost you a lot more. If you lift from the middle, then it's a very classic. It slips lah. It's not very steady lah. And I was like, where was this advice when I was YouTubing? Nobody was like, F10 needs. But every local BMW like mechanic, you talk to them, say, yeah, F10 3 jacks. You cannot do 1 jack. Cannot. You need 3 jacks. So I think shit, man. Like,
I think the tip is right. It's better to have a hoist.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll try to justify that to my wife.
Hey, you got a nice big landed property, man.
Yeah, but try to install
I like your face, man.
a lift.
But
having said that, yeah.
So the thing is that, right? If you need 3 jacks, then what happens if you have a flat tire?
No, if you're just lifting 1 tire at a time to change, it's okay lah. But if you're lifting, say you're lifting the front of the car to work on underneath the car, this is how OCD I am, right? I actually wanted to remove the underbody, the whole cover, and clean it. Put some degreaser on it, make it clean. That's how bored I was as well. So that was like the master plan. And so what I ended up doing was breaking the oil sump and flooding that whole board with engine oil. The opposite of degreasing, actually. Grease the whole thing.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, but if you're just lifting a wheel, it's fine, right? Yeah. And even then also they're like, 1 jack and then put a stand under the lower arm and all that. So because it's a heavy car, they're just like
it is.
It's like F10. Yeah. So the mechanic was like very clear. F10, even the not even the foreman or even all the boys are like, 3 jack. Don't play around 3 jack.
So now you can spread this knowledge lah.
I don't know, man. I'm still asking myself, hey, worth it? I'll go buy 3 jacks instead of this. That's where I'm like, is it worth investing in 3 jacks just for this damn car? Well, it's fun, I mean,
it's crazy, right? That's when I remember you called me that day, right? Then I recommended site to you. Then I was like, that was something totally new for me, right? The thing is that I enjoy doing a bit of DIY at home also, but I know I'm not at the level of jacking my car up, right? For me, opening up my tail lights and it's already a damn big deal already. I see tweaking, I was like, okay, send to the workshop and check. But of course, early in this year during that phase where we have the Titan lockdown and all, so I was also very, very cautious, against wanting to go to the workshop. In fact, that day when I sent my car is now in the workshop, right? Mine has left us. Yeah. So that day after I sent my car to the workshop, all right, when the tow truck delivered the car to the workshop, when the tow truck called me and told me the car delivered to the workshop, I told the fella, I said, hey, bang, you kasih punya harga boleh kah? Nanti greatest charge tolong saya angkat balik ah. Because I mean, so that was usually, because the thing with doing it your DIY maintenance, right? I always tell people is this: you save money, but never forget that you are also expending your time. You are spending your time to save money. So the thing is that when you want to judge whether is it worth your while to go into DIY, it's always balancing the worth of your time versus the amount of money that you would otherwise have spent paying the mechanics labor, right? If you're looking at purely from a savings perspective. But I would also add on and say that, like, these moments, these DIY adventures give you that, it's part of your journey of owning the car. It helps you, it gives you a deeper understanding of your car. You found out that an F10 requires 3 jacks to hold up properly.
No, but also is if you enjoy getting your hands dirty, lah. I mean, if you don't, then please don't bother doing it. Like, it's a waste of your time, right? Like, but I
enjoy the process.
I enjoy taking everything. If I can dismantle the whole car and put it back together again, I would. If I could, I would.
I enjoy the process, but I have 2 problems. 1, I'm not very good at it. 2, it's I've between and juggling between work, juggling between fatherhood, and and DIY. It's like okay, if I really have the time and the kids are well behaved, I can fiddle with it a bit. So today I did some wiring work on my blue car. I was like, wow, I'm a very happy man.
So Con, I used to be able to do more DIY. I mean, remember my internship, I actually went to work for a mechanic, right? I actually got my hands dirty.
Yeah.
With this particular car, I think as the time goes by, and that time we were playing with the Evos and the GTRs, right? That's the kind of shop. Maybe I'm less confident as you go along, and because I didn't, maybe I should get the ODB, to check on things in case I screw up right after I play around with it. At least I know what I screw up on. So I have not really invested on that yet. One thing I would say to all, if listening, for F10, right, if you're going to go into full mods, right, especially for performance, right, you're going to struggle a little bit versus owning an F30. So just now you asked me if, you're asking if we have future plans, right? When you go around, you find parts, you will find that other than body kits and rims, if you want to look for actual performance, they will normally be for F30 first. That means the mounting point, or you have to make some adjustments, either oil catch tank or every goddamn thing. It's for F30. Generally that's the more popular car to mod, right? I don't think so people buy F10 and they want to make it a 1000 horsepower monster. That's not realistically going to happen. Right? So I only done mild stuff like the intake. And so I want to do the old part, right? We always say the mechanical part must be tip top first. Then you go unleash more, right? And I feel like everything is F30 cheaper, right? So that's the
more common
that's the struggle. Yeah, I spoke to Mike about that, right? Mike, the F10 parts, the intercoolers, everything it's a pain to get the parts versus F30.
But the thing is that engine parts, aren't they the same F10 and F30 when you're talking about the N20 engine? Different one?
No, same, but you're mounting.
Oh,
the position on the position on the let's say you need to mount it, right, is going to be different. The intercoolers are also different. I did my research here. I was like, oh damn it, cannot, not interchangeable.
Oh damn! What happened to Zest wisdom that BMWs are like Legos?
Wow.
Yeah,
that Legos really customized.
That's for an older era lah.
Yes. Yes. Even some of the components are slightly different lah. Yeah. When you come from F10 and F30,
I would imagine that body part, suspension, but I was imagining that, engine and drivetrain right up to the transmission, they are common.
Yeah, I think the major hardware, they are very common lah. There are some changes lah because the platform is different, you see. So the positioning of your engine and then the engine compartment is different. 5 series and 3 series.
Correct.
The way the intercoolers are mounted behind the bumpers and all that. And its shape, it's all different.
So okay. So something a bit unrelated to our topic today. So Mr. Black thinks I look like a schoolboy. Very active. I'm in a live session with two of my classmates.
Yeah. So me and Con are the same age, if you can freaking believe that.
Yeah.
I look like your uncle there. Your Indian uncle.
I think this was like 2 or 3 years ago when I went to Tapao chicken rice, right? The chicken rice lady actually called me, boy, your chicken rice is done. I was like, oh, damn. It's the best chicken rice I ever had.
She really wants your business, mate.
Yeah. That's true.
But I kena uncle, don't know for how many years already lah.
Actually, that one also I kena already. I also kena already.
I have embraced uncle lah. I prefer uncle than bro and all that. Like I got neighbors who are like at the college. The kids are in college and all that, right? So they automatically, uncle. Yeah, I'm fine with uncle. I'm fine. I've accepted it. Stop fighting it, Lakon. My advice is stop fighting it.
I'm not fighting it. But I would just take like quite taken aback.
Nice, you.
I agree.
Call a boy.
Yeah. So, guys, those of you in the comment section, those of you watching at home, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have Tian Long here, we have Ija, we have Mike Yap. Today I am standing in for Thomas, who's taking a break from Top Gear, and we are focusing on the BMW F10 5 Series, specifically looking at the N20 versions, the 520i, the 528i. Because the F10 had too many engine variations to fully cover everything. There's the 520e la, 535 la, 550 la, and all that, too many. So we look specifically at the 2-liter turbos. And if any of you have questions in the that you want to share, if you are looking to buy one of these, if you have also your current experience that you want to share, do drop us a line in the comment section. Let us know, right? If there's any questions that you want to ask, we are going to just pick a few questions from the comment section. F10 active hybrid 5. Very, very few in Malaysia, to be honest. This is basically a 335i plus hybrid. It's crazy fast. But for me, I would prefer a 535 rather than an active hybrid 5, to be honest with you.
So actually, it's an interesting question because when I was looking at the F10, when we went to test drove, right? Me and my wife, we actually went to the Ingress, so we actually test drove. Because not test drove, we sat in the G30. We also sat in the new the 6 Series GT as well, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a big freaking mistake, sitting in nicer cars, right? The 6 Series GT, the leg space at the back and the boot space at the back is just a freaking amazing car, We don't even have to talk about the engine and all that, right? It's a freaking but when we did that, right, and then I was thinking about, what if go for the 530e, go for the E for the G30, right? Try to stretch a little bit. And it was something that I never thought about now, because every time you see on paper, the E and the I, the E might have the edge, or it's very balanced, right? And then when I was talking to a friend of mine who was a BMW owner, he was like, dude, never go for the E, right? And he's like, because he knows I have a heavy foot. He's like, why? He's like, yeah, because if you have a heavy foot for the first 20 minutes, yes, you have the extra power. The minute the battery runs out, dude, you don't have that advantage anymore until you go and charge your car.
All right.
So the minute you're on a road trip, all right, the first half an hour of your road trip, amazing. After that, you're just like, oh man, let me send more power the whole time, right?
Yeah.
But
the 530e actually runs on the 520i engine tune, and then they enhance it with a hybrid. Yeah. So performance-wise, it's more of a 520i plus than a real 530 equivalent.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just in the city and you're looking at more as cost saving from the fuel, you're driving. I would not imagine the hybrids as a performance, because you lose out the minute the battery runs out. That's the issue, I mean, I tell you what's very good for a PHEV.
Before MCO, right? When I was sending my daughter to her Tadika, right? Her Hindi there, it's like I think I have to go through 10 speed bumps. No joke.
Okay.
Right. I tell you that 1 month when I used my 520i to send her to school, my fuel consumption jumped to 17 liters per 100 Ks, because of the boom, boom. And it's like really sharp ass bumps, it's not the ones that you can just ease off and let the car glide over. You really have to come to a full stop, boom, boom, and then you hit you go on the throttle again. That was when I imagined a PHEV would come in really handy in this kind of driving situations.
Yeah. I know people who plan their daily commute around that. Is they know they can get like 70 kilometers off the hybrid. They were like, okay, go to office, come back, drop the kids, come back, put it to charge, and then the second round in the evening. So they almost don't use any fuel, but they're not driving fast or anything per se. It's a daily driver, So that's smart. I think that is smart. But if you're buying it for performance, I think you need to think hard,
I mean, I would go for the 530i any day, for me. Yeah. But did either of you guys consider the diesel when you were shopping?
No.
Well, I think I only had experience. Friend owned the F30 320D, which is the same engine, right, at the time with the 520D. I think in city driving, the torque is intoxicating. There's no doubt about it. The torque, but once you want to go to more spirited driving, right, I think you want high revving. That's the thing that I do enjoy high revving. I think about 4K. Mike, is it about 4K? The diesel is out of breath already. It's about 4K.
4.5
4.5.
Yes. Actually, the thing is that the diesel's punch, it's like it just suddenly whacks you in 2,000 or 3,000 RPM, right? After that, pop, you're on to the next gear already.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the F10, if you want to go diesel, I would say try to find those limited units with the B47 engine.
Yes.
One is very nice. That one is very nice.
Yes. That one quite rare because it was like
very rare.
It was like right at the end of the motorcycle they introduced.
Yeah, I tuned that one before as well, and I think maybe there are about 200 to 300 cars in here. I think. Not many of those around.
But when you tune diesel, you get bigger gains, right, compared to petrol in terms of.
Mainly still on the top, Really,
it's really still the mid range, isn't it?
Yes.
Because diesels are you basically buy when you have a diesel, right, you're only using like up to 3,500 RPM and that's it.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Right, you don't go past 3,000.
Yeah. So the other thing about the diesel, I mean the mileage is great. The other thing about diesel, when I bought my car in 2017, you remember that time, right? This is the first batch of 520D. And if you look at that time, if I wanted to buy a premium selection 5, the bells and whistles versus the 528, it's economy class versus business class. I mean, it is both a 5 series. It's like we say the variants are so huge. There's a huge difference when you step in between the 520D and the 528i.
It was more like Air Asia versus business class, the way they specify it.
Utilitarian. Very. One is utilitarian, one is luxury.
But actually, later on, I think it was 2015 or 2016, BMW actually really upped the whole F10. That was like when the whole F10 range went M Sport, 520i, 520d, M Sport. So actually, that final batch of fully M Sport 5 series, right? Those are really the ones that really you get the F10 in its best possible shape.
Without reverse camera.
Well, you solved the problem.
I had to get it in there. Sorry.
To be honest, that one also I like cannot now modern car, right? No reverse camera, a bit susah, especially for family man, right? You don't know when your kids are running around in the house, right? Or like Ija, you have dogs at home, right?
Yeah.
But
don't care, man.
But to be fair to BMW, Mercedes had reverse cameras, but you look at the other marques, right? Volkswagen didn't have. I had a 508, right? Remember? Peugeot also didn't have. There were a lot of cars during that period. If it's Continental, right? they were. I remember the salesman will tell you that sauna or whatever way of parking, right? It's just as good. I was like, how can a diagram telling me yellow green be as good as me physically seeing? But that was the funniest thing I heard with the salesman tell me when I bought my 508, my Peugeot 508. So I mean, in all fairness, the Japanese were very luxurious with all these cameras.
Yeah. Well, Sean Cole here has a more enlightened view. He say if my parents and ancestors don't need reverse cam, then I don't need it. Well, in life, you really just make do with what you have.
Correct.
Yeah. SK Leo here is championing diesel power. He's a 7-year owner of a 520D, 1,000 kilometer full tank. In city driving, that's damn amazing.
Yeah.
For city driving, that is very amazing mileage.
Yeah. I don't look at the mileage in my car at all.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't.
I don't. I. It's one of those things where it's my cost of owning a car. I know my fuel cost will be higher than everybody else. I just don't care. I don't worry about it, lah.
Actually, the important thing is you enjoy the car, right?
Yeah.
If the fuel bill is heavy and you don't enjoy the car, that really sucks.
Yeah, I mean the thing is I also, if you're being philosophical about it, I think the why we buy a car, for example, is a big reason. So if you want a reliable car, you can do thousands of miles in. A diesel is a better choice, right? So you can get the miles in. But if you want like something performance, and if you have something in mind and that's going to make you happy, then by all means, go for that. And don't worry. But if you're going for performance, don't even talk about fuel consumption.
Exactly.
Don't even talk about the stuff, lah. I mean, now we're talking about tuning with Mike and all that. You can't even talk about consumption, dude.
But actually, Mike's tunes are not that heavy on fuel consumption. I found out.
I'm already convinced, Con. I'm already convinced to do the tune. So
it all depends on your right foot.
So not so good with the right foot here, right? I mean, I think the part about Mike's tune, I think not promoting Mike. I didn't even know Mike is coming on, right? Well, compared to a lot of other tunes out there, and I mean, when you look back at when I was still a mechanic, 2005, 2006, you can really get high horsepower where it's ridiculously impossible to drive on the road. I mean, I think you will puke after a traffic jam. Right?
A lot of people forget the important thing is the drivability, the delivery of the power. That one is very important, very, very important, right? I mean, on racetrack, of course, you can tune the engine to maximum horsepower because these are trained drivers. All right, they are, and the engines are probably built to last X number of races, 1 race, 2 races, 3 races, and then after that they are due for rebuild or whatever. But road, the requirements are totally different. Different.
It's more about being able to control your throttle, when you're out on the road, even on the track.
Mike, what do you say for comparing to the people are offering this plug and play, like the race chips and all that, right? Comparing to probably somebody sitting down and tuning the car properly. What is your advice if somebody's thinking of the race chip? It was one of the considerations I was thinking of early on, so it's just plug it in and you get additional X amount of horsepower, but it is not customized to your car, it's just a very generic tune as such. But what are your thoughts on it? Is there any downsides or upsides to that?
Basically, we call piggyback, piggyback systems, and this typically, they will pull data from your map sensor, your map sensor, your throttle, and sometimes from your cam sensor. These are the 3 sensors they take, usually. And then what happens is that they just take these 3 sensors and they actually divert the data, to tell your ECU something different, so you get a higher boost, and also to adjust the camshaft timing, So you do get some gains, some you get, some you don't, and with those systems, sometimes you get drivability.
Because they are like some just generic tunes, is it?
Yeah, and then what happens is that sometimes the safety of your engine, actually goes out the window sometimes.
because the thing is that it is feeding the engine inputs that is not representative of what's actually going on, right?
Yeah, correct. Correct.
So essentially, it's. I mean, we're not promoting or demoting or it's not ideal, lah. It's not ideal. It's better to do a proper tune.
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay. So, Mike, somebody is asking you about the 535D. I know you have worked on one of these before. Is this the customer?
I think Prakash is the customer.
I saw this car in Bangsa. I think a few months ago. What caught my attention was the two pipes at the bumper. So then after that, come near with diesel. Wow, that is a unicorn, man.
Yes. I think easily only less than 5 units in the country.
I'm not sure there's even 5.
So I said less than 5 units. 535D. Fantastic. The amount of torque and power of that car, crazy.
Yeah, crazy. That one, right? If he chooses to sell, right, he can dictate the price, man.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. He loves his BM.
I can imagine. 600 newtons, right? The car.
Yes.
Wow, that's.
Yes.
Hey, Ija, there's a question for you.
Agree, man.
Yo.
Is that an Ender 3 3D printer at the back of you?
Yes. Ender 3 Pro. I got it at the start of MCO. Very bought. Again, I have a lot. Most of my things is like very bought. So actually, a friend of mine had I printed out a part for his E30. His door handle broken. So we actually found the file online and we 3D printed for the fun of it. He was so happy he ended up buying a 3D printer as well.
But did it work on the part?
Wow. No, the part could fit, right? And for these 3D printers, mainly is the strength and all is dependent on the material you use, lah. So the most popular material is called PLA, which is not very heat resistant, but it's rigid but not very heat resistant. But you can also use ABS. So ABS is a bit more flexible and more heat resistant. But the problem is if I 3D print ABS, there's fumes. So you need to exhaust it all properly, lah. So I'm now playing with a carbon fiber PLA. So it is stronger than the regular PLA.
Wow.
But of course, it is not a carbon fiber weave. It's just a normal carbon fiber. So it looks like matte black, right? So I use it like just for the fun of it. I can say, oh yeah, this carbon fiber, 3D printed carbon fiber by myself. But nothing for the F10 yet, lah.
Get you to 3D some parts for me for my Corrado.
You can find the file. I can do. Don't worry, you can. If you can find the file. But pet project again, lah, is I get obsessed with something, I get bored. Okay, lah, try.
Henry again asks, can handle the sticky trim in the door handle. Actually, this is a very common F10 and F30 thing. You guys, how do you deal with it?
I changed mine. So don't worry. After the first time you get stuck in this kind of problem, there are a lot of the tactile feels a bit different, but I guarantee you that it won't happen again. So I think I did mine at Lucky. Not promoting them, but I did Taman Mega. I think if you see Chris' video, right, he went there before for some work as well, right? I got mine done there. Right. So yeah, matched the color quite well because my internal is the brownish leather, right, which is a bit. So I got that done, and then it's perfect.
So it's not original, but it's something that you can rest assured it wouldn't simply melt, lah.
Yeah, it won't simply melt. I think that melting was a very disgusting few weeks when I couldn't. It was MCO, so it was the first MCO where so every time I go and buy lunch, right, it's a very unpleasant feeling of closing the door, right? Right. So yeah. Very happy after that. First thing I do, I took the car and get rid of it. Yeah.
Well, Sean is lucky because the service center changed for him just before his warranty finished. So that's good on him.
Actually, same here for me also. The last service before the warranty expired, they do it like I think there's enough complaints that it's like an SOP lah. So they just offered to change it as during the last service.
But if it's the original BMW, I think it will peel off again, right? Because of the I cannot remember what's the reason I read. It's the material. It's meant that it will happen again. But if you use the original BMW, so I went the less environmental friendly route. They asked me, you want the same quality or you want the one that won't come back? I say, yeah, let's go for the less environmental friendly one.
Wait for it to happen, then change. I mean, it was free. I mean, the service center swap.
Yeah, correct.
Of course, if it's free, we don't argue lah.
Yeah, take what we can get, ma.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So we have chatted here for nearly 1.5 hours, man. Any thoughts? Any final thoughts on your respective cars? Maybe you want to share with us what's next after this in your mind, playing in your mind right now. You want to go?
I think I will share the thing that I recommend. I mean, again, if you're a little bit of a DIY person, is I got the OBD scanner quite early on, and I actually got I got the Beamer link and also a Beamer code subscription as well. So it's quite enjoyable to see how much you can, because the Beamer link and Beamer code, you don't screw up the engine, nothing like. It's just more about settings, right? Yeah. So it's quite fun to go and change your, you can have a Rolls Royce splash screen if you want. You can have a mini splash.
Yes.
I chose the M Sport splash screen but you can, because it's the same platform, they allow you to have the Rolls Royce splash screen. So there's a lot of customizability in there above just your setting screen. The Beamer code actually gives you. So now I was telling you earlier about the active sound, right? So you can actually switch on and off. That's the Beamer code actually allows you to go pick what car do you want it to sound like. Do you want it to sound like what series, So you can actually make it sound like a, like a potentially like a F10. I mean the M5 if you want. I mean, for me, these are just like fun, enjoyable things you can. In the car, I mean, but it gives you a lot of additional tweakings.
It gives you another layer.
It doesn't break the car. Yeah, and it doesn't break the car.
It gives you another layer of enjoyment of the car. It gives you that deeper understanding. You get to know, what makes your car tick, right? And I think that's something that I deeply enjoy. I mean, my cars don't have customizable screen, so forget it. But for me, even that thrill of accessing the diagnostic mode of my instrument cluster is like, something that's quite nice to do. To see the dials flipping and all that, right? Yeah.
And also the F10, there are some upgrades that you can enable from the software side. That means it's using the same hardware and you can unlock using the software.
Yeah.
If you enjoy doing those things, I think it is I would highly recommend get it. It's very hard for you to break the car using Beamer link because it auto backs up. I've screwed up a few times, it will just restore. I've not had a critical failure yet. So it's quite foolproof. If I say that, it means it's foolproof. I tend to push it to break. So these OBD somehow they're quite foolproof. And you have a lot of fun. I would recommend that. Get it and you can have a lot of fun with it.
Nice. So which is your screen?
The top left. The top left. You really feel happy looking at that.
The thing is, Tiano?
Yeah, I mean, before I forget, right? I guess, in the same tone, right? I do. Well, number one, don't buy a German car or continental car thinking it's going to be like owning a Japanese car. And I think among all the German brands, I realistically, one is not going to be more expensive than the other. And I can say that because I always thought before I owned the BMW that the Mercedes will always be cheaper to maintain.
Yeah.
How wrong was I with the camshaft problem on the the 1.8 engine? The camshaft cost me 5K to replace.
Yeah.
So those was my dad's belief, right? Those days, right? Mercedes is always more reliable than a BMW.
Yeah.
So the first thing I would say that's not necessarily true. But if you're going to go down the path where you got turbos and everything versus the which Camrys and Accords are still NA for now, right? It's going to be a difference, right? So just make sure that you're ready for it and the enjoyment. So I got someone to code for me. Not Ija. He bought the thing. I got someone to code for me, and I unlocked the the power band meter. I did a lot of adjustments to.
It also got the power band meter inside the software.
It's hidden. It's off. It's off.
Okay.
So they they classify like M spots they show certain things. Actually, it's in all the cars.
Actually, a lot of these cars, right? The features is all there already. The full suite of features are there. They just need to go to the software and unlock.
You know, some F10s, I subscribe to BMW's the connected drive online service just to find out what it is, right?
Yeah.
Not my model, but some F10s actually come with adaptive, I think adaptive suspension, adaptive.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Which is a software. It's not hardware, it's software. That means if your car has the hardware, you pay them an additional 1,500 ringgit. They will unlock it, and your car now will have the adaptive drive or something. It's a scam. That I feel is a scam. If you have the hard drive in your bloody car, would make you pay $1,000 just to enable it, no? But my car didn't have so I can't even enable it, even if I wanted to.
Actually, the adaptive dampers are different,
No, I mean if you have the hardware, but you have to pay them to enable it. So I feel like a bit of a. It's odd.
You
connected.
You have to change the dampers also, right? At the end of the day, right?
The dampers.
Yes. But you can change the damper and you enable
yes.
No,
but what
my subscription.
lately,
but my subscription on connected drive, they says your car is not this feature not available on your car. So I assume some cars that feature is available, but you have to pay for it for them to enable it which is very sneaky
there's one car, I think, I'm not sure is it Porsche or not. You know, right? They have advanced it to a level like this. For the future, right? What they can do is you buy the car. You can buy the car today, cost on spec, and 2 years down the road, right? You decide you want to add this feature. You go online, you swipe your credit card, whatever. Porsche will remote activate the feature, and sir, you can use it in your car right now.
Then I hope the mics of the world will let us activate it. To help us activate the features remotely and not go back to Porsche.
I'm sure all these things, people will take people will try to break it, but at the same time, the car manufacturers will put the all the various restrictions in there to try and stop you so that they can continue to make their money. There'll be implications to your warranty and all that. Yeah. Okay, so here's a question from Han Ping Teo. Okay, N52 and N53 better drive compared to the turbo variants. It depends on how much you like the smoothness of the 6-cylinder engine. The engine, I would say the N52 is smoother. You have the nicer sound, but the turbo variants, the N20 engines, as I mentioned earlier, has a better dynamic balance because of I think it's probably the weight of the engine, the weight distribution of the car. Somehow the F10 rides and handles better with the N20 engine. That's my opinion.
So
agree with you on that.
There's one thing I tell Con. I hate watching his videos when he features his BM because one thing about the N20 is it sounds like crap early in the morning when you start the car, especially on a cold start.
Yeah,
there's no way to overcome it.
No, and also it doesn't look that good in the engine bay. I think the 6-cylinder fill up the engine bay nicer. I'm like, thank God there's a cover covering the damn engine. Because the cover is it doesn't fill up.
It's there for a reason.
It's all the plumbing, all the turbo plumbing underneath. The pipes here and all there, right, to route all the thing all. So
some of the vacuum hoses
The 6-cylinder has some nostalgic advantages
Of course. Nicer. But one more thing, the N53 is a direct injection 6-cylinder NA engine. Now this engine was never offered in Malaysia. So if your car has an N53 engine, right, it is actually not tropicalized for our market. So if you are buying one of these, you have to buy with caution. I mean, I've heard testimony that people have run this engine in our market fine without worries, but there are also problematic examples. So if you want to go into an N53, proceed with caution. Okay, so 1 hour 35 minutes. I think we can call it a night. But before I let you guys go, there's always the usual segment that Thomas popularized. We're going to play Dude, Where's My Car?
Okay.
Okay, so we do include Mike and and Tian Long here because Ija was the initial guest. So we started with Dude West. So we have me and Ija there. And for round one, okay, this round is a battle of epic engines. Mike, this is your video.
My video.
Yeah. But Chiang, where's the sound?
No sound.
But I think everybody recognize this one this cabin That's the V10. And what car is this, Chiang? So you have the M5 E60. Okay, that's the first car. Or what do you guys think of the M5 E60?
Want to buy. But nobody has ever said it's a good idea to buy this car. Not one person.
It's an epic engine, but a bit of a temperamental gearbox.
Yeah.
But I thought the engine also has a certain lifespan and some things are bound to break much earlier, right?
The Conrad bearings.
Yeah, Conrad bearings. Yeah.
Conrad bearings, but that is I would say the Conrad bearings is something that is something that you can address with preventive maintenance. Like I interviewed Ivan Kong that day. He has the V8 M3, same issue, Conrad bearings issue. If you address it early on and 80,000-90,000 kilometers, right, you are quite safe with regards to the Conrad bearings. The main weakness of the M5 V10, I believe, it's still the SMG.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, and they only made the manuals for the American market, right? So
all right.
Yeah. Oh man, this guy in the manual will be fantastic,
Yeah, it is. But I mean that V10 engine is BMW's only ever time making a V10, but it's such an epic engine. It's a lot of people sing praises of this engine. The M5, this E60 M5 will be remembered well for its engine. So the next car, all right, that we're pitting this M5 V10 against is also one with a relatively memorable engine. I hope this one got sound, Chia. No sound. Whoopsie.
Wow, this one.
But this is another epic engine. It's the Mercedes AMG 6.2 V8 in the C63. So this is also, I remember this 6.2 V8 when it first came out. I think they came out first in the SLS AMG, then they put it in the E63, and they put it in the Mercedes in the C63 as well, right? Very memorable engine. Amazing that a car in the size of a C-Class, they actually rammed a 6.2 V8 inside there.
Yeah, I think this was like when Mercs, they were nuts, right? When they just went crazy with how they do cars, right?
Mercedes has always been crazy when it comes to their AMG engines, but the 6.2 V8 is another level of crazy. All right. So between these two epic cars of epic engines, this was something that really got me scratching head during our Monday live show. So I'm bringing it for you guys to explore this question. How would you choose M5 V10 or C63 6.2?
Come on, bro. You're asking a few BMW owners. I would say the M5 V10, no doubt.
Actually, surprisingly, Con, my answer would be I would go for the C63. C63. And the reason you can't remember that Top Gear episode when the car was launched. And bonkers around corners. It's not just the engine, right? The car was hopeless in terms of nimbleness versus the BMW entry, and that's how ridiculous the C63 was. It totally didn't make sense. for that, I would choose the C63, and it sounds crazy fantastic. This car, it's
actually
awesome.
Both cars sound crazy fantastic, which was why when this question came out in the Monday Live show, I was like totally stunned. You know, the M5 V10 is a car that sings all the way to
True.
right. Whereas the 6.2 is a more deep throated kind of bass to it.
But the V10 also was a salvo for the F1 V10 at that time lah. So it was
correct.
It's like having one car, right?
Correct.
I mean,
the V10 is the car of F1 DNA.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I can't fit in a C-Class, man. Even if I wanted to, I can't fit in the car. I don't have the choice.
Mike, have you tuned the 6.2 before?
Yeah.
How was it?
Epic engine actually. This one damn crazy. Even the startup startup is ridiculous. If just say you want to go on a Saturday morning or Sunday morning drive, I think you got to park the car quite away from your knees before you start it up. Because when it starts up, it really bangs. Where the cold start really loud. But that particular car I did because it had sports exhaust system in it. Yes. If I
so
remember
how would you pick between these two, Mike?
Yeah, I will still take the C63.
You pick the C63?
Because this car, I mean, the BMW is really epic. But this one another level altogether, they plug the 6.2 V8 into this 204 model. And for people that doesn't know about this type of special cars, they just think that it's another C200 parked there. When you start like bam,
crazy, man.
Started up, crazy.
Anyways, let's ask our audience how they put. Okay, Sean picks the M5 V10. Henry still picks the V10. Jensen picks the V10. Well, Sean says he will pick the road tax price gap to change Conrod bearings.
Hey, fair play, man.
Fair, man.
Yeah, Henderson M5 V10, Lexman C63. 6.2 V8 will stuff mangoes into your tail. Neighbors will stuff mangoes into your tailpipes. Well, for me, both actually the one this one is quite a head scratcher because both have great engines. We know they will not make another one like this. But I think I do agree with the point that it's quite ridiculous that Mercedes put a 6.2 into something as small as a C-Class. So yeah, my vote goes to the C63 as well in this comparison. So Charles King votes the C63, DUH Wedge votes M5 V10. So next choice. Round 2, we are doing class what you call it? Project car. All right, classic project car, 4 cylinders. Okay, you have watched Initial D before, and A86 is a car that because of Initial D, the value just went skyrocketed. Right, these are going for 100. I've seen them asking for 160,000 thereabouts. Right, it's crazy. It's crazy. So it's all because of the cartoon. Right. But the thing is that there's no denying that this car, because of its prominence initially, has that pop culture value to it, right? That people it has that iconic feel to it. So if you were given a budget to do a classic project car, would it be this, or would you consider a BMW 2002? Not the TII, not the turbo, just the 2002. And to throw in a bit of a condition, both cars will be there for you in like a state that needs to restore. So you won't this will be your target, but you know the car you will be having the car in like a barn fine state. Which will you pick to restore to this kind of condition?
You don't need to ask me, lah. I think my answer very obvious.
Both cars also, in a way, they are a bit overrated. They are a bit overrated. They are a bit overpriced for the abilities that they offer. But you know, they are also somewhat cherished in the motoring world. They fetch great values, and and a lot of them are probably in a state where you need to do up to fix from ground up. I think Ija has. Huh?
I was going to say, I would take the AE86, and actually, it's not just initial D. Actually, I've seen the Drift King himself, right? I think if you real life, you've seen how he drove that car, right? Wow. Yeah. He can drive an entire lap, either on off switch the throttle, right? There's no, it's full or off, and that car is underpowered enough that he can drive it like a complete idiot, and I think that one captured me. Takumi is anime, but seeing the Drift King pilot his AE86 through the mountains, right? It's forever leave a memory. For me, it would be the AE86.
Mike?
Oh, for me, it would be also the AE86 lah. AE86. Because I haven't really driven the 202 before, but the AE86 strikes me more lah, because when I was growing up in the 80s, teenager, when this car came out as the Levin, wow. The shape of the car and all that, and if you look at the shape, also reminiscent of my Corrado. But not so much for that, but for the rear-wheel drive platform, the 4AGE engine, and then the steering sticks out, just very nice 80s, Toyota Corolla Levin. For me, it is more Levin than AE86 lah. Which are similar cars except for the headlights.
Anyways, No Name here has a very interesting comment. Say, Takumi better be driving ACV 40 Camry, so my car is worth nothing now. That is one way to escalate the value of your car, man. So let's look at what our audience are choosing. Charles votes for the 2002, Jensen votes 2002, Prakash votes 2002, Nitin votes. So all these 2002, Charles Chin says, okay. Yes, we've got somebody who voted AE86, but I'll smack 1JZ. No, 1JZ. You take the car as is, right? The stipulation is you must take the car as is. So Kanesa takes AE86. Joshua goes with the AE86. One is overrated, but however, the other one is the classic. Charles Chin has a valid point. 2002 is a worse rust bucket than the AE86, right? So Sean Cole says, okay, AE86 still. Wow. Now, actually, I made this pairing, and now I'm also stuck which one to choose.
So which one are you going to choose, Con?
You see, the thing is that, right? Because I added the condition where you are not buying the cars as is, but to put yourself in a journey where you found them in a barn find, you need to embark on the journey to restore these cars to this shape, right?
Yeah.
So I would think the 2002 would be the more difficult car to restore. Okay, because the AE86 is newer. A bit of a fun fact, right? The 2002, right? The first batches of 2002s, they had 6-volt batteries. Their electrical system ran on 6-volt batteries.
What were they, the 2002 or the?
Oh, they could have been the 1502 or the 1602, but the first batch 02 series cars ran on 6-volt batteries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Might be the 1602, I guess.
Yeah.
1602. Wow.
Yeah.
So you don't have an alternator but a generator in those things.
Well, both now both these
but
cars.
Actually, I like the 202 a lot.
Yeah. All right, but I think for me, well, Tianlong picks the 86, Ija picks the 2002, Mike picks the AE86. A lot of our audience picked the 2002, but I think I'll go for the AE86 because, well, for one, I've actually never had a Japanese car in my life yet. So maybe this would be a good place to start if I.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good category lah.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
not bad. I got 7,500 RPM red line.
Correct. Yeah. If there's one thing that Tianlong pointed out, right, the AE86 is a car that I think after restore, not that you would dare to, but after you fix that right, it will be more resistant to abuse than the 2002 would be.
Oh, definitely.
Right. It will be a car that after restore, you are more likely to be able to drive it regularly than with the 2002.
Yeah. In my early days, I drove my Corolla LE to the ground, but it didn't break. I had a Corolla LE. Every day I was hammering the car, but the car that's all you have.
Yeah, man.
Just put petrol, change oil, and go.
Okay, so let's move to round 3. So this one a bit of a personal history for you, lah.
Wow.
You once had a Mercedes W124, but now let's allow you to revisit that, but in a coupe form. Okay. What do you guys what do you guys think of this?
I actually love the car, Con. That car was over-engineered near to the max. So I only until the later years where some things broke down, we couldn't find a replacement part. But for all practical purposes, right, this car was a tank, a really solid car and reliable, right? It's comfortable. I think way ahead of its time. So I really love the W124 series in any form and shape, actually.
Yeah. So you would gladly re-explore this car in coupe form, like given the choice.
Oh, definitely.
Huh? Yeah. Ija?
I think they're great looking cars, but I think from a design language at that point, the comparison had always been with the Beamers, and the BMWs are a lot sleeker. Sleeker. They the BMWs today look a lot bulkier than they were back then, right? I think because of that, I was always impartial to those days, especially like the 7 and all that. So I'm impartial to that. So these cars, I think they look great. Even now, the cabin doesn't look so dated and all that. Yeah. But I would still be impartial to a Beamer. Although I don't know what the other choice is, but the
thing is that right at this point in time, BMW didn't have a 6 Series to compete against the 124. So there wasn't a BMW rival to the 124 coupe. Right?
The 06 series is there, right?
The 6 Series was before this. The 6 Series was before this. The 6 Series predated this, right? Mike, up.
Oh, I think in my show the other day, we were talking about it. I said, this is one of my favorite Mercedes. The W24, and especially the CE, which is this. Yeah.
And it's amazing, right? That they keep the front and rear end of both of the saloon. Yes. Right? And you make and they are still able to make a car that is quite handsome and as wide as the A2, right?
Yeah, the silhouette very nice.
Yeah.
With no C-pillars. Wow.
So during the time of this, Mercedes didn't have a rival from BMW, and BMW wasn't as strong as they are today during the time of the 124. So the C124 coupe didn't have a direct rival from BMW. And if you remember back in the 80s, right, BMW wasn't the player that it is today, and the real rival for Mercedes at that time was actually Volvo, because back then people were always E-Class or a Volvo 240.
Yeah.
Con. You had now I know what this is very funny.
Tian Long here, he once had a W124 and he also had a Volvo 244. So basically, I just showed him the coupe versions of his two old cars.
Yeah.
But you see, this is also another one. You know, the 262, it actually replicates it actually has the styling of the sedan, right? But just reorganized into a coupe profile. The interior is practically identical to the sedan as well, the dashboard. Right.
So Con.
Yeah.
And these cars were my dad's cars, so I had no choice, right? It's not something I chose, right? So whatever I could use to get to college, right? I just use whatever cars he allowed me to drive. So I had the 240 and then the 230E.
Yeah.
But I've sat in a lot of the 6 cylinders. If I'm correct, the Volvo, the larger engines weren't that sweet. But if you got yourself into the 280Es and that if I'm correct, this was the last time Mercedes made straight six. After that, they started to go to V, right?
Yes.
There was a very unique tone to the engine. So if you get the 6 cylinders, I think it's just like we say, the VTECs will never be made again. I doubt Mercedes will ever do a straight 6 again, and they were very special.
Now they're back to straight 6 already, but it's just that it's in the higher. Yes. Your E50, the E53 is a straight 6.
I forgot about. Not not real AMGs, right? So I forgot about those. So the Mercedes has a more special place. Although we had some very funny experience in the Volvo, I must say, the 240. But the 240 couldn't high rev, to be honest. The car wasn't. The first one that my dad let me drive is Mike, you might remember, right? The overdrive is actually a button on the gear knob, right? So it was a very unique. Yes. So I had many unique experience, and any friend who passed a driving test will never find my reverse gear in the Continental car, because it's you have to lift up. Yeah. So that was quite fun to prank my friends, because they will not be able to reverse the car out. So I had good time in both this kind of cars. But if you ask me, I will still stick with the Mercedes. I don't think so. They've crafted anything close to this in terms of what standard it represents back then, right? It has a very classic status, the 124.
Yeah. Ija, how would you pick between these two?
Yeah, man, you've given me two choices that I'm not so keen on. I think
sometimes you guys my car plays you that way, bro.
Yeah, I think that's the point, right? I think for the way I see it, for the design language of the car, right? I think the Volvos, I started liking the design language when they had the first real Volvo was the cross country, right? The Volvo XV, not the full on XC90, but they had a cross
XC70.
Is it XC70, the one that was slightly? I think that's when they got the design really.
That was the escalated wagon, right? You're talking about
yeah. People flat out, So I think that's when the Volvos, like, I got the design language right. I think with the Mercs, I was not a fan of the design language for a long time.
Yeah.
Until very recently, when the GLA 45 came out.
Oh.
Man, that car, I was like, I want to buy the car. Like, that's like, and I never imagined I would want to buy a Mercedes, right? But when the GLA 45 came out, I was like, whoa, that's a good looking car. I think that design language on, like, I think Mercs are on, the design is very good. But I think previously I couldn't, like, I would like the more classic Mercs before this, where they had soft edges. I like those.
Yeah.
But this generation, I think I have to go for the Bertone. It's the design alone. I'm just talking
about the Volvo.
Yeah, I'll go for the way the Bertone looks.
Yeah.
Just purely design.
Yeah. Mike, how would you pick?
Definitely the 124. Because the way, definitely the 124. Because of the way it drives.
What? The way it
because
drives.
Because of the way the car drives. And this car, really is over for time. Even today, if you can find a well-sorted W124, right? In property, go and take a ride in the car. Sit in the car. So the seat, when you sit on the car, the space seats. You are so well. You are really sitting.
That the other day I bumped into Chris View on the road. He was driving his W124 sedan. I was like, wow, that car is in beautiful condition. It's it's faultless, man. It's just it's in absolutely pitch perfect shape. Lovely car, lovely shape. Yeah.
At that time when I drove it in the late 80s, my cousin brother had one. I think it was 230 or 260. I cannot remember. But my boss had a 260, I think, and my cousin had a 230. And I tell you, the 260 was a fantastic car.
The 260 had a six-cylinder engine, right?
Yes.
Six-cylinder.
Straight six.
Yeah, straight six. Yes.
Straight six J-Tronic injection.
Yeah.
The thing is, Go ahead, Con.
No, those days, right? The E badge actually merely denotes fuel injection in German. That's all it meant, right? But throughout the years, Mercedes have suddenly decided, okay, E is going to be the name of our mid-size model, so it became the E class after that. But you go during the time of the W124, there was no they never called it the E class to start with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
It was always the Mercedes 200E, the Mercedes-Benz 260E. There was E class only came in like towards the end of the model life cycle, and then transitioning to the W211, 210, that they finally call it the Mercedes-Benz E class.
Yeah, like the W123, they just call it a 200. A 200, 250. And then injection, it was an E. Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes,
that's it.
And the 124 that I always remember, the 1244 is the heavy throttle. Crazy.
Yeah.
The very, very heavy throttle.
Oh, yes.
I think you
Yes.
You need to put a brake there to help you accelerate.
Yes. I drove my uncle's 300E before on the highway. It was like, wow, you really have to put effort on the throttle on it.
Build muscle.
Yeah.
On the full throttle, you really have to stand on it.
Yeah. So No Name here asked an interesting question. Just now we said Mercedes E stood for injection. C, back then, right, they didn't use C for carburetor. C was actually denoted coupes. So the 124 coupe here, that time they would have called it the 230 CE, the 260 CE, the 300 CE.
Yes.
Yeah. So look at the choices of our audience. 124 from Jensen, Joshua 124, Carnison 124, Sean Cole 124. A lot of love for the 124. Nitin goes for the 262. Henry goes for the Volvo. Okay, I'm not sure if Charles Chin meant to choose the 262, but he said he spotted one in KK. I think in terms of driving, I have no doubt that the 124 coupe will be the nicer car to drive. But I have to say the Volvo is the more beautiful shape. All right, it's a more beautiful shape. Okay. So Grayson Gray here says C124 a red interior. 124 any day, timeless. The 124 is a pretty rare car, but Rail makes a good point in saying that the 262 is even rarer than the 124. One of the things that inspired me to put the 262 here is that yesterday I was driving past TTDI. There is one park on the roadside at TTDI.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's one park on the roadside. I'm like, wow, okay. I mean, it's obvious that car hasn't moved for a bit lah, but it's there. If you ask me to pick, if it's a 6-cylinder W124, I'll definitely go for the 124. But for design, for the looks of it, it's the 262 is easily the much more handsome car in this comparison. So, yeah, I think maybe I'll pick the 260, the Volvo as well. Yeah. Okay, so we have spent 2 hours together tonight. Thank you, all three of you, for joining us. Thank you to all our audience for joining us as well. Next week, Thomas will be back on Top Gear to retake the show, and you will see me again live on Monday nights for our weekly Q&A car buying guides. And rest of the week, we will also have other shows as well live every night to keep you guys entertained while everybody stays safe at home. All right. So before we wish everybody good night, Tian Long, Ija, Mike, thank you for coming. Any last words to say before we say good night?
My pleasure, Con.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you for having us. Con. Thanks for the invite. Yeah.
Take care. You guys have a good weekend.
Guys.
Take care. Have a good weekend. Cheers.
Have a good weekend.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Good night, guys.